Hello and welcome to the skating lesson. I'm Dave Lees.
And I'm Jonathan Byer. Hi.
Jonathan, this was such a fun event this week. I was loving Skate Canada.
All great feelings, great fields.
I always do well in fantasy here. My team did win this week. You won last week. So
I definitely did not win this week.
No, you did well this week.
Oh,
You've
thanks.
been a solid choice.
Okay.
La was the bottom rung this week. I was the bottom rung last week, but La was...
Okay.
Yeah. No, you were a solid choice. You know what? You were like sending Jason Brown to the event. You know, you were going to, get that medal no matter what. So even without that quad.
Right.
You know.
Even in that outfit. Yeah. Okay.
Well, we'll get to Roheen and that.
We sure will. We sure will.
There was a lot this week. Congratulations to Nikita Karbala, who dominated fantasy with 145 points for Skate Canada.
That's a lot. Okay.
That is a lot. Mark Hanreddy, British Eurosport commentator, in the silver medal position this week. Yes!
Oh, okay.
Proud of him. Yeah, and Daniel Grossel. And it's interesting, Daniel Grossel's name, I always want to put an extra vowel and there's not there at the end. So maybe...
He's got enough, thank you.
He's got enough. He's Italian, you know. Anyway, Let's just start in because I had such a fun time watching this event yesterday. It was one of the real events of the season, I have to say.
Now, Dave, I'm actually watching all this from my mom's house in Chicago.
Okay.
And so going through my library last night, I found this. I have appropriate hardcover books for each discipline.
Wait, that's where she said that she and Carlo had a sexual tension when she took from him.
That part was weird. That part was weird for sure.
That part was weird in the book. That's what I remember it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And her kids are very different ages, and I don't think we go into that or any of it. And
this was before Kathy Griffin made fun of her on My Life of the D-List for drinking too much. Yeah, okay.
Didn't she?
Sorry, I'm creating the distractions
Didn't
today.
she kind of make her older son sound messy, and then he found that girl? I wasn't sure if she liked the girl or not. There was a lot in that book.
Recent read. I should reread it.
It wasn't a recent read for me either, but I remember thinking Peggy was maybe traveling too much, with the skating, with the talking about the skating, and maybe he was... Or what, did she become an early in life grandmother? It was a little Whoopi Goldberg, I'm 50 and a grandmother, and
And that's Peggy Fleming leading us right into
the ladies. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right. It's like when you meet people from different cultures, and they're like, "Can you believe how old is your mother?" And they're like, "My mother's 50," and I'm like, my mom's...
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, I digress before I stick my foot in my mouth. Or my blade in my mouth.
Okay.
Let's start off with the event of the ladies. First of all, Marin Honda botching that short program.
I love the short program.
The short program was one of the most beautiful short programs that we've seen. It's one of the only new programs we've seen this season. I thought it was the better program, probably even than the free skate.
I agree.
Like both very much. She had a weird technical error that she made on the front half of her combination. There was no way that she could get that triple toe off cleanly, and I thought
she almost turned around the other direction.
Girl, double it. This is not the time to be a hero.
But it was really the double axel that did it, right?
Yes. The double axel killed it. It was just... So she was in... This did not help her PCS in the free at all because she had to start off first. What did you think of the free skate? I thought that... did they amp up the turn dot sound effects going on? There was a lot of chiming and orchestra sounds and...
Well, that's the thing I was actually, I love her. She's my favorite skater right now. But when you look at all those intricacies, there are these levels of percussion and chimes and gongs and all these things that are not, she's perhaps not responding to. Ooh. And she still does that smile. Right away when they're singing about the death, she gives a little cutesy smile. And I was like, listen to that, though. Listen to that. Something inside of her wants that kind of feeling for a program.
Yeah.
And I felt like the short program matched her.
Yeah.
it felt like it really captured what I love about her so much. And the outfit was beautiful, and the skating was light. She just needed to land a double axel, so she could have had a bronze medal.
Yeah. I did feel in the free that her components, I mean, it was funny, Karen Kwan messaged me and she was like, what did they score that girl? I was like, Karen.
It was criminal.
It was
That the
criminal.
skating skills were like 7.64 or something, and I was like, I don't
That's a
understand.
first year junior first, and they people. There are lots of axe to grind on that panel. There's a lot of working going on, but she definitely made a name for herself, I think, with the free skate and established it. She competes again next week, which is a little bizarre to fly from here to China and compete again. A little weird with the scheduling there, but the three Japanese ladies will go against each other. I would say she's at a disadvantage next week because she's the one that has to fly with the jet lag. So that's
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
But I think you know what I liked about her. I had a feeling that the Grand Prix might just she's getting a lot of attention in Japan, a lot of shows like.
It's her first Grand Prix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then but she came back as a fighter in the free. She wasn't someone who bombed the short and then completely imploded. So I thought that was a really good sign. And she was maybe one of the only credible skaters we saw for about an hour yesterday.
Right.
Because, Jonathan, that was a special group of ladies on the ice. You know what? It had really everything. It had everyone that we wanted to see, everyone we could hope for.
Yeah. It delivered.
I was revisiting that shady cameraman from Rostelecom like a couple weeks ago. I was like, wait a second. Like, what did Arlene Chartrand actually do there that was like so horrible? And I feel like we got a glimpse of it yesterday.
We did, because what was the thing were the audience reactions, right?
Yeah.
There's the guy that's just dumbfounded when he's like, and then there's that lady that's just like,
Yeah.
And if you looked in the background of certain skaters' mishaps, you saw a little bit of that happening in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
In one of the close-ups of Anna's like kamikaze falls, you see people in behind her just being like, "Whoa."
Yes.
So
Yeah.
he was this cameraman. He stayed above the fray for sure.
Yeah. Elaine, not a lot of pressure on her this year, aside from getting that third spot. I would say that she's pretty much in line to get that third spot. There's maybe one other Japanese lady who could even come close. Canadian lady who could come close, but I don't think that. She just needs to regroup and refocus and.
The kind of falls were so interesting because literally every fall was going forward. I was like, this is such a strange thing to be happening to you on every time that you're coming out forward. It's so weird.
Do you feel like a choreographer doesn't really know what to do with her, so every time they get her, they're like, well, she's got blonde hair and porcelain skin. Let's do, like, Gone with the Wind, Sunset Boulevard. I felt like she was just, like, that token skater who would skate, like, second or third in the first group and be, like, one of the Helgeson sisters. Like, she just is, like, kind of...
It had a very Swedish vibe to it, didn't it? The whole thing.
Do you notice that some of the skaters, like, blend together when you've seen them, like, so many years? There's, like, that...
Yeah.
Tomas Werner and Mikhail Breshna, and you always know they're just gonna like bomb a lot of things and look pretty attractive and just like that's the way the Grand Prix goes.
Right.
Elaine has fallen to this category for a while. Like she is middling, and I had a feeling she was middling when she went on that. She went on some like they do some holiday Stars on Ice tour in Canada. It's not biased, but they do like a holiday version. And like before the Nationals, she was out skating, and I was like, now that's someone who should be practicing from the Rostelecom Cup. And so
But what's interesting again, also, we loved that they had the mics up in the Kiss and Cry.
Yes.
This was thumbs up material, and then we were hearing them watch themselves.
Yes.
That was really informative. Like, I loved when Vanessa was like, Morgan, look at how good that throw was. Yeah. Like, it was really cute. But her Kiss and Cry moments have always been and continue to be very uncomfortable for me.
Well, she's very upset every time. And
distance, there's body language, there's silence, there's just a lot of people nodding forward. It's a tense.
There's some like parental situation with an RV and pressure, and I think there's a lot going on here, Mm-hmm. But my new favorite lady is Larkin.
I feel like was kind of an
Kind
easy
of a
choice.
matinee idol,
Yeah,
you know? Yeah.
replacement. Yeah.
She reminded me of an Amber Corwin. You know,
Uh-huh.
like, I hope she competes for another 12 years. To Liza and all sorts of old show tunes. You know, if I were casting Disney on Ice or one of the, Holiday on Ice or one of the cruise ships,
She had a look.
I would take her over Elaine Chartrand or Gabby Daleman any day. Maybe Gabby
Absolutely.
you would take for like a group number so she could come out and jump. But if I wanted like a lady to be pretty for, paying dinner customers, I would have
Right.
Larkin skate and just not
Yeah,
have her do
it
any
would
of
be
these.
lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
She has a nice quality to her. She's never going to be competitive.
No.
I hope that after this season, we either, or after college, we get a nice contract, make some money, and then go on with the rest of our lives.
Absolutely.
Lovely.
Thanks for your contribution to the sport.
When you look like that with with the bob hair and you're skating to like cabaret to it was on the nose. It was
Uh-huh. Yeah. I have to say I was unfamiliar with her skating before, and I will be unfamiliar with her skating from here on out. Also, I have a feeling. Yeah.
And it was about as many people picked her to be the unlucky lady this week.
That's yeah.
But Elaine made that one tough. Elaine
Yeah.
and Pogorilaya, I mean, there was some real competition. So it was...
Okay, it's coming. It's coming. Speaking of people that have been around forever, it's interesting to go back and watch the different commentary between Olympic Channel and our friends at Eurosport.
Yes.
I adore because they're real people that talk about real things. The vapid commentary from the Olympic Channel, I was like, I am getting more stupid with each passing minute because they just dumb down the material so much. It's so
So, have you ever
infuriating.
met Ryan Bradley in person?
Like, hi.
He's
You know,
he's a nice, normal guy. So one of my memories of Ryan Bradley, we were in Minnesota at those nationals, and remember the group from Arizona, like the ladies on the ice,
Yeah.
and remember like the first group of nationals that year, it was girls trying triples who had never landed them before. They had no
Right.
business being there, and I remember
Right.
we passed each other, and he was like, the level of skating this year is a little surprising. I was like, but the guys that are like coming up in this group of commentators, maybe because they're straight, I think the gay guys all loved Dick Button, and the straight guys were like, "Oh, that's Scott Hamilton. Everyone loves him."
Yeah,
They
because
seem
there's a sing-songy quality to it. He wouldn't be like, oh yeah, she was a little outside, which is his only criticism of every jump. He'd be like, yeah, she was a little outside.
And they'll be like, "And that was
You're
a
like,
great performance, loads of energy, courageous," and you're like,
talk
"What?"
like a real human being. Like, just talk to
So-
us and let us know.
Someone sent me like, "Why does he sound like Carol Angela Orchard?" So I think that's so. There's this Canadian commentator named Carol Angela. She was a coach, and she'll be like, "And yes, the ladies have lots of talent, and each free skate is picked music that meets each skater perfectly." Like if she
You're like,
was. She's like, each
just
gymnastics
talk to me.
floor routine
Yeah.
matches the personality. If you do a somersault with more flips and twists, it will score higher. Like that's yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Ryan and John Coughlin both have that going for them.
And their brilliant commentary, like, oh, they fell. You really shouldn't be falling.
How about when he goes, "I think it was really smart when Ashley went back to that program." And I was thinking, like, wait, pause. You were the shticky skater that we accidentally
Yeah.
gave a national title to because people felt there was like some bad, like people felt guilty and
Me. Yeah.
yeah, and like, wait a second. You're from the Tom Z School of Skating. When do you get to talk about programs ever? Like
Right,
what?
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No. Oh god.
Yep, I'm inclined to agree.
Mm-hmm.
But in any case, the Eurosport lady, who does not always come out to play, but she was out for one of the ladies' events, and Rika Hongo was in the kiss and cry, and she's like, wow, I'm going to paraphrase, but it was like, wow, she's only 21. It really feels like she's been around forever.
So I had that same reaction watching her yesterday. So I, was a little burned out like Patrick Chan over the summer. It took a little time,
Yeah.
And in my mind, I thought that she was one of the ones that retired last year, like all of the other ones that we were sick of seeing in the first group on the Grand Prix.
Like Murakami, she was in
Yes.
that yeah, like kind of thing.
Like a couple of them retired. I thought Rika Hongo was in there. I
Yeah,
don't know. Wishful
yeah.
thinking, I guess. I don't know. Rika Hongo,
More of the same.
where did she get off thinking that she was Elena Ilyinik and going to do that Frida program? That was a surprise. That was really... She's a no-neck monster. There's not much...
Yeah.
There's, like, nothing you can do. I mean...
Yeah.
She lands things. Good for her for trying in that tough Japanese ladies field.
Yeah.
No, I don't have much else to say other than I think that she would fit in really well with Corey Aid and Roheen. I think that is like the next step on her coaching journey is that she needs to go there.
Painting. Yeah. Okay.
Because it is such a perfect fit that Corey Aid has not had success with the American ladies. So now we are importing randoms with like nearly guaranteed Olympic berths from other countries.
Mm-hmm.
And also Corey Aid and DDA existing in the same universe with Roheen is like very perfect. Like very appropriate.
I'd like to listen to that conference call.
Yeah.
Between the three of them.
So how would you describe this Maryland program that she was skating to here? This was
You know why it's unusual? Wait, no, ask me again. How do I like it? And let me tell you why I hate it. No, I'm just teasing. She has she's another one. She has a soft, gentle, like, quality to her. And Marilyn needs to be a little fun.
Jonathan, we know this girl because she was a hot mess last year who had this terrible program, would sometimes wipe out in the short and then changed costumes mid-free program. She was
and you
a
know
novelty
what?
act.
But you know what you remember? You don't remember her selling and emoting and being like a spicy gal. You remember her having like a weird costume change that was so bad. It was like called like enjoyment.
Yes.
Like,
and I didn't know how she was going to like live up to that this year. Like, what are they going to do now, right? So like, when you're that kind of novelty Philippe Candeloro, like shticky Ryan Bradley kind of skater, like what are we going to do this year? A Marilyn Lolita program singing about being in love with Daddy was just so perfect in the dress that flies
but it was
up.
like she didn't even know. Like she was skating like a totally different. I was like, where's the fun? Like, own it. Where's the sass? Where's
like
the
a true 7K skater, other than Jason not landing any of the jumps. Like it was so special. It's.
But I still think she has the spot.
I think she does have the spot, and I'm happy for it. Okay, that was just.
Yeah.
And what was with Roheen with like the backwards hat for her, but he got dressed up for Jason later on, like.
Maybe that hat was standard issue for the French
Federation. I was glad that he remembered that she was competing in the morning, because sometimes I've heard stories that, you know, like he missed the final round of regionals or the short program for people in the past. You know, it's just, it's standard.
But when you're in Regina, you're really just there for one purpose.
Sorry, I can't with the Canadian names.
You know where it's near? It's pretty close to a city called Climax, Saskatchewan. That's not a joke. I'm not even joking.
The only thing I know about, and if anyone has read this book, please chime in, but the only thing I know about Saskatchewan is we read this book, and I was always this nerdy kid that loved big families and big, like, feel-good, like, I watched The Brady Bunch, like, I was real corny. And we read this book called Owls in the Family, and they were from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And I remember we used to like say it and learn how to spell it, and they were in our spelling words.
Like any young gay kid wants to have to say Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Okay. That's no wonder I never read it. Okay.
Owls in the Family. If anyone remembers it or anything, if you read that book, and it was about Canada. So Owls in the Family. I think we read it in like 3rd or 4th grade. I don't. Yeah,
it can be the TSL book club for Canadian nationals this year.
Sometimes we read kind of easier books. Like we were reading that Tales of a 4th Grade Nothing in 4th grade, and I was like, I read this in 2nd. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
But we digress.
American education at its best. Anyway, Laureen, God bless. You know, this was, I don't even know how Roheen came up with this one. That was just truly an original.
Yeah. I could have seen him trying to give that to Mariah Bell.
Oh, mm-hmm.
And I wonder if it was rejected or something, and so it went to Laureen.
Well, I don't think she's with him this year.
Mm. Oh,
So,
maybe he had it planned for her.
yeah,
That makes more sense to me.
yes.
But okay,
Because apparently he was like kind of tough on Mariah. Like he would be,
okay.
yeah. I don't know. I think Mariah Bell's program such a disappointment. Oh dear.
Yeah. She wasn't even here, Dave. We have plenty of funny things to talk about that were
All
here.
right. Does that bring us to Ashley? How many have we checked off all of these messes in the first group? Let's see. There was
Okay.
let's go through this. There were the two Canadians who bombed.
Mhm.
We had Marin Honda, who was quite good. The French. Was Rika in the first group? The second? It was just a
I
mess.
think Rick was in the second group.
Bless. I mean,
Yeah.
no standards these days.
Yeah.
And that brings us to Ashley Wagner. So, Jonathan,
Yeah.
I
Tell
think
me.
that this bronze medal is one of those things that I think it would have been better if Ashley finished fourth here. Because
Okay.
I think that she would have been sent a message, and they're all spinning this, and she said this was a really solid free skate for me, and I was thinking, no, because Ashley Wagner at this point in the season is at least usually rotating her triple loops, and I thought like on
It's
some
a slower
level,
burn this year. Yeah, I agree.
like last year, she didn't do the second triple in the program, but she did practice, and she just had a weird landing. She looked stronger at Skate America last year than she was looking this year. Like I do see some erosion from year to
Right.
year, and in the practice when she did the Moulin Rouge, I just felt like it's pretty, it's nice, and we've seen it so many times. And I think part of it is because it's actually a program that some of us would rewatch because she had so many dramatic moments to it that we've actually watched that program a ton of times. At least I
Yeah.
have. I've judged it. I've seen it. Like I've seen her practice it at events. You've seen it. The Pope has seen
Yeah.
it. And I feel like it loses some of its effectiveness to me. I mean, there was nothing that.
Well, Dave, you know what it has to do is it has to lose a bit of effectiveness for her.
Yes.
She's not, how could you be as pumped? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You talk to someone who's been on Phantom of the Opera for 20 years on Broadway, tell me how excited they are for tonight's performance. You know what I mean? Yeah, she's still performing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she's still like, doing what she can, but like how could it be as genuine?
And for the
That
judges
and
too,
of
you're
course.
not going to throw her those extra points because you've seen it. And
Right.
people will write in and say like, "There's no rule about this," and it's not. These are like the unwritten rules of the road here. Is it's just going to get that lesser bonus? It's just that. And the short, something about the short feels dated too to me. Even though it's only the second year she's done the hip hip. I never liked it the first time as much. I thought it, because it was Tess and Scott's program, and they took it from So You Think You Can Dance. It's been like derivative so many times, and
But here's the thing. Back when we first started filming together
Yeah.
in 2014,
yeah,
I made the analysis to her being cool as a little more VH1 than MTV. And
Yes.
here we are, 8 million years later, and the same is true. There's something decidedly dated about it. And somehow the Canadian audience was with her, but they weren't really.
yeah.
The energy was a little...
She's lost something in
Yeah.
over the last year. I really feel like a number of these skaters peaked. Boston Worlds was their moment, and because there's no pro circuit, a lot of them are kind of hanging on through this Olympics. This is their
And that was a big silver medal. That was
Yeah.
at home, plus the silver medal, plus this program.
with a
You know what I
cheated
mean?
triple flip, like all of it, in a very good field, and that was it was a very good, and she had a pretty good year that year. She didn't win the nationals, which she wanted, but it was a good year for her, and it hasn't, it's gone down over last year. I thought was a real struggle, especially by Worlds. She's not doing the spin. It's a slow burn this year, and she's really not rotating the triples that she does very well. Ryan Bradley kept saying, "Oh, that combination was so much better in the free skate," and it was clearly under on the toe. And
Right.
and in practice, I thought it was going to be rough when I saw the practice video where she she missed a triple loop and she looked like someone had knocked her over, like she was in shock. Like there was a lot of like miming.
Disheveled by.
Yeah. And I just thought like this is just, and you can tell by Raphael that he knows that this is not.
He's kind of taking a passive seat, it would seem.
He seemed passive this whole weekend. Watch him with Nathan and watch his body language with everyone else. I mean, it is not the same level of investment. Do you think she'll win the U.S. Nationals?
Well, okay, this is something we'll get into here also. This was a big statement opportunity for a lot of people skating here, right? It was going to be a big deal what Anna and the other one, Maria, what they said with this competition. This was a big deal, this competition for the American women. I think a lot of people were like, well, even among each other, is it going to be Karen or Ashley on top? It was pretty darn near Courtney.
Yeah.
Like, she almost was.
Like, and it's interesting because Ashley in the past has done better at her first Grand Prix and then usually goes down a bit and then tries to come up a bit for the final. And she doesn't have that opportunity with Skate America being at the end this year. Is that she kind of has to it's going to throw off her whole...
If she arrived in Skate Canada and really cleaned up the jumps, I think she would have been a shoo-in for the national title.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now it's just as confusing because she was very disappointed in the Kiss and Cry. This is one of those bronze medals that she was not feeling good about after she skated.
No, but she knows how to give a good quote, and she knows how to put a good spin on it afterwards, and she understands the game that she is playing. And I think she's got a good chance at the national title, but I think anything is possible at this point. I mean, Courtney Hicks...
Each event is more questions than more answers, right? Like, about that particular title.
So I really think it would have been good for her to finish fourth here and then really realize, okay, something is not working. I would really... I was half kidding about the Smash program last year. I think just do it. You have a red dress. You've got to.
When you were telling me that, Dave, I was like, I had not heard them.
Okay.
So then when you sent me the clips, I was like, this captures everything. It captures the essence that worked for that other program and then provides you with something new and innovative. But all right.
I just think, look, keep the program, do a little different arm gestures, a little different, Ashley-isms, and then just move it along. I think it just gives like a little bit of a, like a little, and sets her off on like a little bit of sparkle, to the Olympics.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Especially with Tess and Scott doing Moulin Rouge and competing here, wearing my Scott Moyer turtleneck. I really think that was a rough outing because Courtney Hicks, I have to tell you, I thought nearly outskated her. And apparently we're supposed to hate Courtney Hicks because she's a little bit... she likes some things on Twitter. I don't believe any of these skaters' political opinions are that informed.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying.
But Courtney Hicks, I thought, look, she really went out and fought for it. There was one girl... She goes for it. So many of these other ladies have kind of skated scared or... just looked deer in the headlights, Olympic-itis. Here's a girl who no one really has on the short list to make the Olympics, and she kind of went out and did her job here, I thought, really well, effectively. What did you think?
Had she just gotten those few extra points, and she left a lot of silly points even for her on the table, if she had eked out a bronze, was the top American lady here, then the buzz would have started going nuts.
Yeah.
I'm unsure of why they do that triple loop at the end of the combo. It seems like a recipe for disaster. I don't know why they just don't change
One of these days, she's going to land it in competition and get all of the points, Jonathan. But
that's right.
She is a little bit Tanya Harding.
With the technical information required to hit a triple flip, triple loop.
So she's a bit Tanya. I think we could get... I think Lorraine Borman and Megan Duhamel can coach her to...
to grit it out every time.
The scary thought is not just about this Nationals, Jonathan. Who's going to win Nationals next year?
Right.
Star Andrews? Like, what?
Yeah. Right.
Skating the Whitney Houston program. I mean, there are rough times ahead in the U.S., so we need to think about this. So keep Courtney in the mix.
Okay.
Moving on, we got to see the new same old Karen Chen. The Tanya Shevchenko Lutz that we can't do a combo off of. You are quite adamant that she is just an inconsistent lady that has had a couple of well-timed...
That's how I view it. I don't... And it's tricky. This new program that she choreographed, I found the music pretty generic.
What is the music? What is that from?
I don't know. Some movie called Tofu. I don't know what it's from. It's like so bland and just like blah to me. And the program also, it just said nothing. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to choreograph, it should be something you have to express. That's why you want to do it. And I was like, you're just like improvising gestures along with this program. And when you look back at Karen's programs, a lot of them are pretty similar. I wonder if she's tricky to choreograph for. Mm-hmm. Every program ends up being kind of the same.
Well, a lot of these skaters that have grown up under the IJS, some of them don't always have the best, teams working with them or the best people. A lot of them tend to be generically thrown together the same way a coach gives everyone the same schlock. I mean, unless you are really developed, specifically at a young age, you tend to wind up looking like that. It's kind of like Gracie, where it's all one plane. There's not a lot of highs and lows. It's very similar. Mm-hmm. I think Karen actually has better skating skills.
Spins. I mean, the spins are like out of this world. Yeah.
And I think Karen has the nicest edge quality of the U.S. ladies, but hasn't been developed with a coach that really does it.
What to know? Yeah.
Yeah. I think Frank could have done more with her. I mean, the Lutz technique is weird, and why hasn't this been fixed? And it's the Tanya Shevchenko, weird delay on the Lutz that comes down, it lands in a thud, and as Frank always told us, the first jump goes like this, so the second one can go like that in the combo, and she goes like this, and then you try to get a double toe off of it.
Stuck down. Yeah.
And it's every time, and it's not a mistake, it's just...
she does that.
I think that she will still make the Olympics, because I don't see who else we could possibly send, but...
And again, how are we looking at it? Compared to her Grand Prix last year, it could be worse.
It could be worse. Yeah. I mean...
So from whence we've come, it's like, okay, but as the national champion who's gunning for another one in an Olympic spot.
I think that we should be Canadian about this, because we're going to get to the way Canadians spin things, and we're going to say, this is a new program. It takes a lot of time, a lot of mileage to get the programs out there, and we wish Karen really well in the next event on this artistic journey that she's on. Okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She really sells it.
She really sells it, and, committed to her own voice.
Yeah.
So I think that is...
And Andrea Joyce reads us some, weird fact about her favorite animals or something.
Andrea Joyce makes me believe in the weird media consolidate. The fact that this woman has a job being so mediocre from year to year
that someone is writing some of those buzz lines for her. I'm like...
She has made such a career. That's interesting. I would love to know, who's saying, let's hire Andrea. She's great.
Right.
Basically, she's willing to fly to Denver to record this with...
Correct.
Ryan Bradley, in the middle of the night, and do it. This is... But she's probably been on TV, more IMDb credits than anyone. All right, this is...
More than a Law and Order SVU Corps.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So moving along, we've hit the American ladies. We've hit this. Let's talk about Anna Pogorilaya, Jonathan. This
was bad. This was even worse.
Okay, so
than some of her worst.
Over time, the first year that we did it, and everyone laughed about her program, the falls. This is not a usual fall that you have. This is not an accidental fall. This is maybe the kind of fall that a normal person would have once in their career. Maybe, right?
Remember that one time.
One time I had that fall that was so insane. And, and you just, it happens and you're like, what the F? I was trying to think, how many times have we seen her do this? It happened at the Europeans. It happened twice at that NHK. It happened
I feel like droves of times, Dave.
Droves at Worlds. This is at least the 5th time that this has
I
happened.
feel like even in the seashell bra of Pirates of the Caribbean, she
Yeah.
she had a couple of splats.
So, and if you heard the kiss and cry, it's clear that she doesn't always train the program all the way through. So it looked like, to me, my impression, what happened is that she was mentally not all checked in at the beginning. She starts popping everything, and then she's like, oh, I have no points, and starts kind of throwing herself in these jumps, but they're not really going to happen, and her body has changed since last year. And she starts like knowing she's going to miss, and then like makes them dramatic on purpose. I was asking Kimmy about this, and she has some young students who will occasionally fall like that, and she's like, it has to be on purpose. Like that's you don't fall like that, and that doesn't happen twice in a free
certainly
skate.
Not at her level. Come on, you're trying to fall backward. Like I don't even understand it. And you see, I don't know what the training is like. So does she take these kinds of spills when she's training? I doubt it.
Not like this. I don't think... She
And
always
she's
looks
like,
scared going into jumps. Like, there's always a weird quality. Like, she looks afraid of the content she is doing. But
I cannot get over her opening edge into her lutz. It is the weirdest looking thing. She almost looks like she's a speed skater, like about to turn a corner when she goes into all of those lutzes. And I was like, no wonder your body's so weird. It's like so...
I know she had time off this summer. And did you watch the movie about the Russian athletes yet on Netflix?
Oh, no.
All right. After you do it, well, I have a theory about what's happened to her.
Okay.
Some of these things are expensive, and I wonder if maybe she was taken off the program, and now she's like sort of back in. Like usually their bodies don't change in an Olympic year like that in Russia. Like that happens in other places, but that not there.
Right.
So this is that was.
And oh gosh, sorry. Oh, she's here. That like this, she needed to beat Maria here.
Yes, absolutely.
And had she, it would have been a huge statement. But
Maria is interesting. She's one of those skaters, lovely, nice skater, elegant. I can watch her for 4 minutes and not remember a damn thing that happened, Jonathan.
Yeah, that is a good way to say that, because I enjoy the skating when I look at it. The jumps are big. There's like a softness to it. Like I'm into it, but yet I'm not like, I don't leave with any feeling.
I leave being like, what happened there?
Yeah. Did she land everything?
What did she do?
You know what she did. She did this on every jump. No,
Well, okay, and if you're not really twisting your core and bringing it up, like the Brian Boitano arm, if you're just kind of throwing the arm over, it's not that difficult. It's just it's not changing that much. So some of this GOE feature-y stuff is getting really ridiculous. And Tracy Wilson said that she wouldn't be surprised if it's outlawed soon, and we can only hope.
The feature for that, yeah.
Yeah. We can only hope.
Correct.
What did you make of Kaitlyn Osmond here? I'm really curious what you make of her Olympic chances, the whole shebang.
Dave, let me tell you something. Right next to my Peggy Fleming book.
Oh, yes.
No, everyone's like, did you ever come out to your parents? And I was like, did you think I had to? So I love her, and I think her clean program, I would much prefer to see win the Olympics than our Russian ladies in a clean program. I think the jumps are more important. It's more important skating.
Well,
her skating, for some reason, matters more to me.
She's very Tanya with choreography. Yeah.
Those jumps are enormous, and her extension, her free leg and everything, it's always...
Da, 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 da. Come on, Jonathan. You know you get excited when that happens.
Take it away. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It's good.
I love it. Some of the angry people were like, but it's okay that Osmond repeats her short, but Ashley can't. And I'm like, I think that Osmond's program is good. It was on MTV. Exactly. It wasn't the VH1. It was a program.
It was worthy of repeating. And
it wasn't just a shimmy into a jump that you were pretending was a transition.
Right.
It's a real program. I mean...
Yeah.
So, but I do feel that Canada has their own version of a Sasha Cohen. I mean, she cannot get through a long program. She should be the best skater, or one of the top 2 best skaters in the world, along with Medvedeva. You know, they should be rivaling one another.
More neck and neck.
Neck and neck than they are, with different strengths, and Medvedeva with the spins, and just very different, you know, apples and oranges type conversation. Mm-hmm. But Medvedeva gives the judges reason to have her components so high, is that she always delivers. And then between reputation and just how the human species works, she's going to get these points every time because she delivers like clockwork. Osmond is just not getting it done psychologically in the program, even though she's made all of her jumps bigger. She has some of the greatest landings we've seen on some of the jumps, but when it goes wrong, it's just a mess. I mean, the double axel did not need to happen. It's
a total switch thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, her technique is exquisite. I love watching her jump. But I have to say, if they were truly both clean, I think that's when the judges would give the boost to Kaitlyn.
But Kaitlyn has to be clean enough times that it's not a surprise, so that if you practice the clean program and you perform it and you've competed a clean program, that's when you can add that extra level of presentation because you have the confidence in your material.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, but I could still see what won't happen is she'll miss, she'll double a toe and then miss another jump and then expect to be competitive with a semi-clean Medvedeva.
It reminds me of Tessa and Scott in the last Olympics, where they had made so many mistakes so many times that when they finally did become clean, even though they were better skaters than Davis and White, they finished behind them because they had the perception game has already lost. It's like, oh, you managed to be clean. They deliver all the time, and you reward someone for that more. And that's where Zagitova and Medvedeva, they're going to be getting those extra points because they deliver.
I wonder do they have a matchup on the Grand Prix before the finals?
I don't believe so. Okay. Jonathan, don't ask me questions that
I know, I'm sorry. I was like, I wouldn't know the answer to that. I can't believe I just asked.
You know what? Not next week. And then I don't believe so, but maybe.
Because that will be a very important
No, they shouldn't, because usually 1, 2, and 3 are spread out, so they shouldn't be facing each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't.
Is Swan Lake growing on you a little bit?
A little bit. It's not horrible.
Only a little bit for me too. It's because of what that requires. Mm-hmm. It makes me a little disappointed instead of her selling something that she just sells.
Is Kaitlyn a little Ethel Merman-y to you?
Yeah, it's real Broadway kind of gal, not necessarily a ballet kind of gal. And that's
she's more like, hello, Jonathan.
She needs like big pizzazz. Yeah, she needs a Chicago program or something.
Chicago or Hairspray or yes.
Hairspray. Well, there's that new musical about all the 9/11 flights that they had to reroute to Canada, and they all lived in Canada for a week. She could do that. Okay, that'd be like
not the way I thought that story was going. I'm like, this sounds like a Medvedeva program. What are you talking about? You're like,
no. It's a harrowing Canadian musical. Yeah,
a harrowing Canadian where we all live in Canada and
and we take in. It's just lovely. She should skate to it.
Okay, yeah. So after the ladies, there was a short ice break, or flood, as they say in Canada, and then we had the ice. We had the ice dance event, and
did you wish I had a book about ice dance?
I did.
I do.
Jane always looks so sensual in that pose to me. It's
interesting, right? It's a pretty remarkable pose.
Oh dear.
But good ice dancing at this event. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So the last group was quite exceptional here.
Absolutely.
All right, all of them were interesting to watch for different reasons. Mm-hmm. You know I love Marie-France. And
I do too. And man, does she look good in that white poncho thing?
The hair and the pants that she has on and yes.
I watched a little with my family, and when she sat down, they were like, she's a skater too, right? And I was like, yes, that's
What
correct.
were she and Scott Moyer laughing about in the Kiss and Cry? That was one of those I wanted to replay. Didn't get a chance to, but
I remember. I don't think it was anything that interesting.
I don't think. Yeah, she always like switches to like the Quebecois French. I think when she wants to say anything interesting, anyway. But
Exactly.
and she knows how to like hold it because I've heard that she is like what the scary one of that duo that you don't want to upset, but she saves it for afterwards.
Because I feel like she probably doesn't even raise her voice. She just comes in close and whispers very sternly, and you're like, ha ha ha.
So apparently, she just like made Madison Hubble get a new dress. Like there was no even like discussion. It was like, so you're getting a new short dance dress.
You mean to replace this one, I hope.
No, the old one to this one.
Oh, I hate this one too, Dave. I really do. I'm so
the
sorry.
Olympic season is tough. Okay.
Wait, you mean the short dance?
The short dance, yeah.
Yeah, I hated it. And him in the purple, it chopped him up. It didn't seem Latin. Oh man. Okay. And yeah, I'm wearing purple for them.
All right. Well, she's gonna hate us, but I love her. Apparently like the teams are like each one is getting individualized attention, so they don't really share the ice with each other right now. Like she's kind of minimizing that.
Okay, that's an interesting way to handle with what could be a very toxic and overly competitive environment.
Yeah,
like,
they're kind of like giving each team like attention and not really, letting them see each other and just focus on them. And I think that's an interesting way of handling it.
Because even Meryl and Charlie and stuff, remember?
No, there was
Tara.
Psychological warfare going on there every single day. People will tell you.
And
now.
Tara and Todd, they weren't even competing against each other, but it was just too much of that energy in one place.
Too much of that trying to steal Richard's attention. Yes. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what did you make of Smart and Diaz here? Last year I was all about them. I just loved that Circles program. I have to tell you, I hate that Natural Woman free dance. It's just like everything. I think that we should like it. It feels like very much like Sandra and Marie France and all of those women of Stars on Ice like put this together in their minds for some sort of group number, and I hate it. I hate it so much.
Interesting. Okay, so because I liked like the opening lift and things like that, and there were parts of the program construction that I enjoyed.
Yes.
As an overall thing, and I think that music is hokey. But again, the movement that they are doing, the actual choreography in many ways was effective to me, but no, the dance overall was not effective. Their short dance was much more effective. And I just wish he would get back together with the old partner, even though I know that's never happened.
He seems like kind of a problem. Like, he's always a mess in competition. And she can be, like, interesting too, but he really, like, with the twizzles and...
Because I thought he was pretty great in the short.
Yes.
Actually, it's like, oh, he's getting pretty good. And then I was like, oh, whoops. No, he's not.
Sometimes they just always have these uneven mistakes. And it was often in the program last year where it seems like in competition, they skate at a different speed than they skate at in practice. Right. And Jenny talked about this. So sometimes some people under pressure speed up and some slow down. And it seems like that happens a lot.
Go in opposite ways, yeah.
It kind of happens for Duhamel and Radford more sometimes this year, too, and we'll get into that. Megan speeds up, for the record. It seems like she's...
Funny that. Who could have ever foreseen that being the case?
Yes. Okay. But it seems like that happens. Sometimes I noticed it in like some of the transitions in their free dance last year. They've come a long way, though, this team. There is more... that seems, and if they keep both dating their significant others, maybe they will compete next year after the Olympics because everyone will be in Montreal anyway. So maybe they do have a future.
It's a Spanish nationals. You know how we're all just always glued into Spanish nationals.
Yes.
It's gonna be curious to see who wins this year.
Because
and which one they send, but again, and what happens with everybody's citizenship. And
well, I like when Olivia Smart tries to hablo español in the Kiss and Cry. That is really hysterical.
It's not very authentico.
It's not very authentico. It's great. And how come we never see Eric Radford's fiance on the Grand Prix competing for Spain?
I wonder how they limit the. Maybe Spain hasn't qualified the opportunity to have two teams at one place. You got to give it to.
Javier needs to just like get a Grand Prix event in Spain. That way they can, send 3 Spanish dance teams and ladies.
Exactly.
Yeah, we do get
France almost thought they had to cancel theirs, right? Like France is always like in jeopardy. I thought
because they don't have a sponsor right now. They didn't last year. And Finland always wants one, and they want to tie in the synchro and all of that. So there are opportunities.
Is the whole Grand Prix being sponsored by Pantene?
I don't know if that was just this.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Remember when it used to be sponsored by Chevy? And also, fun fact, 97 Nationals, when they show Michelle Kwan driving in that beat-up Oldsmobile, was that her actual car? Like, was that Danny's old car that he would, like, go to the electric company and back? Or, what? I need to ask Karen, was that, like, some sort of prop that they gave her to, like, make her seem relatable to the general public?
Amazing.
Right. And then the Lipinskis with their oil money and that, like, Plymouth van that she had going on. What was the status? What was the deal with that? But just say it.
Maybe it was a brother's car that she had to borrow.
What was going on there? Just for like little fluff piece things that make you go,
yeah.
I mean, we know that Michelle had the boot money that season, so they could have gotten her something. Yeah. All right.
How do we get from Spanish Nationals to this?
I don't know, Jonathan. It's a rainy day here, but
exactly. But in any case, it will be interesting to me to see who ends up at the Olympics for that.
Yeah, but I expect this team will somehow be there. I have a feeling. I
think citizenship-wise also because his Russian papers may not have gone through. But,
did Bruno pass his language test yet? Do we know?
Well, Bruno needs to work on a couple other things too.
We'll get to him. Yeah. We're going to get to that. I have like so many things going there. What did you make of the American Ice Dancers for next season? Because now we're starting to hear that maybe some of these teams will stick around. Hubble and Donahue have said that they will stick around as long as they can afford to skate. And are the other teams ready for prime time? Because we have seen Hawaii and Baker be at this level for 4 years now.
I know it's tricky to me because I really like them.
Me too.
I would watch him just like alone, just like do crossovers. Like he's so incredible. She's a risky one. Even here, was she the one that had the issue in the short? I'm pretty sure she was. Yeah, and then. But she really did well in the long. And I think if they ever slowly did it, I think the judges like them. And I think they would build up that PCS very quickly for them if they actually did it. But
because the Parsons and the Maryland teams, I don't think are ready for prime time now, ever. Although I think we could put...
They're not making that switch. Something about that switch, it never works.
And that team hasn't learned about the packaging yet and all of it.
Yeah. This team, I mean, Kaitlyn and Jean-Luc, they have... So they could be world medalists every flipping year, you know, like I think if they were...
Do they need to make the big coaching change though?
That's what I was wondering. And then I was like, by default, am I sending everyone to Marie France, or is there someone who would be better?
Well, you could be with Caroline, so that way she could really support you on...
She'll give you all the love.
Yeah. By the way, so Skating Protocol, Mark Lee made a post, right?
That was incredible.
So I just thought it was funny. I like when skaters give their actual opinions, right? Like what they actually think. So whether I agree, Piper Gill is not even my favorite skater, by the way. Like, seems like a nice girl. Don't know her very well.
But she was unfairly scored, I thought.
Right. I thought that they were scored unfairly. I thought other teams got generous scores last week. They had a rough go of it, right? So I liked that video. Dmitry Soloviev blamed me on Instagram something about like nationalistic, and I'm like, if you knew anything about, first of all, no.
First of all, that's Canada, yo.
Like that's Canada. Like I didn't even like touch you this week. Like I enjoy many Russian things. I enjoy many Russian gymnasts, many Russian ballet dancers, many Russian skaters. I happen to think that you and your partner are not really the best that Russia has to offer. But aside from that,
period.
Right?
Period. Like, yeah.
Period, right?
End of discussion, yeah.
So, Jonathan, I didn't say this last week, but they were, and then people in the comments were talking all about like how rude Caroline is as a commentator. Well, let's talk about our favorite girl, Tatiana Tarasova, because...
Saying the American men, which have like ladies content or whatever.
Do you know what she said last week during there?
Tell
the
me.
man says to her, "Does Mariah Bell remind you of Sacha Cohen?" And Tarasova goes, "No, Sasha had the face of a talented person." So
but you know, you listen to the British sport guys or the Eurosport guys also, and like when Zach and Maddie placed third in the short, they were like, "Oh well, I don't agree with that. That doesn't seem right, does it?" No, and then they were like, "Oh, the Spanish, at least they were like aware that someone else was on the ice, unlike those Russians we saw. They don't even like listen to music." And
I
was
do
like,
think that it's weird that Caroline is commentating at an event when Piper Gillis is competing or when Piper's competitors are competing. Like, if she were really in a situation where they were fighting to make the Olympics again, that is a little dicey that she's commentating. But Tarasova, who greases the wheels for everyone, and we love her for it.
What about Sandra Besic? I never cared if she was commenting on stuff she had choreographed.
Well, eventually NBC made her stop.
Yeah, but see, I don't
because
mind
she would have been a much better choice for Michelle Kwan to go to than Sarah Kawahara in 2002 for that Scheherazade. Like,
saying,
just know that you go to Sandra and you win the Olympics. Okay, like she picks the right music for you. All right.
Remember, Michelle. You should remember that. Sandra, you win the Olympics. So.
Yeah. Okay. Those Lori programs with Michelle at the end, you know, you can see why there was that changing. Just saying.
Yeah. Ring, ring. That's Lori phoning it in.
Oh dear.
But she's had some good stuff. She's in a golden era for her again with these
she
pairs.
had something to prove. If you like the story of that split, Lori was like, "I will get champions in every discipline now."
Yeah.
Don't me, Michelle.
It inspired her. It
did inspire her, and I think we
some of her best work. Yeah.
Look, we all need a kick in the pants every now and again. Like Ashley after this event. So, getting back to actual skating, I don't remember who we were talking about.
Ice dance.
The ice dance, yes. The short dance, there was, Maddie and Zach had a -1, and they would have been so neck and neck. They probably actually could have won the competition. Although Weaver and Poge had a -1 in the free, so if you're going to play the -1 for them and the -1, it would have all evened out.
Okay, now Weaver and Poge had the -1 deduction for their extended lift.
Yeah.
Now, there was conversation. First, people thought that there was a music problem, and that's why Hubble and Donahue got the deduction in the short, and then it became something else about a choreographic limitation. I didn't know how they worded it. It was very, very strange, and I just didn't know if anyone had really shed light on what that deduction was, because when it came up in the Kiss and Cry, because we could hear all of their comments, they were like, "Oh, what's that deduction?"
Violation of choreography restrictions, and it was taken by one of the 10 judges, but it still gets the -1. Yeah, I don't know. That is really interesting. What they messed up. If
someone needs to go down a rabbit hole and find out what that rule is. I mean, I'm sure they already have.
Someone in the comments will explain it to us. I prefer Hubble and Donahue's free more than I prefer the short. I think overall they're skating at such a higher level than they have. Confidence-wise, Madison Hubble looks 10,000 times better than she has in the past. More confident, more self-assured. Zach looks like he's getting it together, and he really knows how to play.
More centered. There's a more centered, even though he almost lost it on the footwork in the free.
He did, yeah.
But there's a more centeredness to him that makes me think he's, how horrible to say this, but that he's growing up.
Yes.
Or that, there's a next level of maturity.
Well, they really got it from Marie France after Worlds last year. I mean, she really got them into gear. Yeah. And they took that, but it was the kind of mistake where I think it benefited them in a good way. I think the fact that they were in the top 3 after the short dance showed them that they could be right up there with the best in the world. And then the mistake in the free showed them that they had a lot of work to do, so that they could see the potential, but also that they needed to push harder. So it wound up being a good time. I mean, they work out; they're both in better shape, but they both, and they have that more confidence. There's still some room to grow, but it.
The short for me, I hated the outfits. I found them distracting and really horrible. Even his, it was even though it's just a shirt and it was just the wrong mood. But there were a couple of dead moments in it for me. Almost holes in the program that I wasn't quite understanding, where the free to me was just a home run the whole time. And I don't understand why they were so close to to Weaver and Poge.
I mean, you are skating in Canada. Weaver and Poge do have the
But I thought,
reputation.
and I guess I thought there was enough distance between them that wouldn't even matter. Like that they couldn't.
Nikolai
do that.
knew how to make Miki Ando a world champion not once but twice. Okay, in times where it could have gone the other way, both times, and he knows how to do some political games himself a little. Marina Zueva.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he did get Bordenkratz a world title finally. He knows how to grease the wheels too, and
Right.
you know, they really had to outskate each other on and off the ice here. Thank God Weaver and Poche went back to Je suis malade. I mean, that needed to happen. That Spartacus program, I thought that their career was over at Autumn Classic. And if they had showed up here, I think it would have been. It would have been too late.
And you know what's so funny? Like, the minute it started, like, it wasn't even registering to me. I've not been keeping up with their particular news. So all of a sudden they started, and I was like, God, this is like a breath of fresh air.
Yes.
It's like, why does it feel like the old them? And then, like, 30 seconds in, I was like, oh, duh.
Come on, the strap is still falling down intentionally on that dress.
I know, and I'm like, swoop. Yeah,
Yes,
but I was surprised Morozov was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go back to the old stuff. I didn't know if he was going to have to take ownership
Spartacus
in some way.
That was Laurie Nickel who made Spartacus. So
yeah, so he didn't care. But I just didn't know if he wanted something that was specifically new.
I think it's easier to sell them on that program because that's the program that everyone really got excited about them over. It was that program, and they, you know, I think it was the smart move at this point.
It is, and in a weird way then, and yet also at the same time pointed out how far they had gone away from what they were good. Like the amount they came back in my mind was pretty enormous.
And you could see how the sport has progressed since then because some of the footwork looks like it needs to be beefed up.
Yeah.
I think some of the just transitions, the overall speed, but I thought that the freshness to them, the overall look, the energy, it's coming back to them a bit. I don't feel like they are going to lose to Piper Gillis, and I think Piper should switch programs as well at this point because
it's just so funny how this happens because how long you've been like, we don't know their voice.
No.
And the minute they came out, it's like, here's their voice.
Yes.
And it's an old one, and that's okay.
Yeah, and it was a good one.
Yeah.
You know, it was just
it's like someone threw water on my face when they were skating, and I was like, oh wow, it's them.
Yes, it just works. They both respond to it. It was a good choice. And someone that from Detroit kind of felt they were always trying to act as the world champions or what a world champion does instead of just being themselves and winning. You know, they were trying to play a part and then it just wasn't working. And I mean, that 1 year with the awful free dance from Boston Worlds and I mean, it's just, they've had a rough kind of time near the top. But I think it was look, it was a big win here for them to keep beating off Hubble and Donahue because
and this thing of like, what message does this send? This is huge. It may be the hugest for them and Maria. Yeah, but I thought this was a big message. Still, having said that, I still would have had Maddie and Zach higher in programs. Yeah. But I was thrilled for them that this was how this happened. And he kept like biting his lip in the short dance.
Yes.
And it's like I was like, am I having a moment?
I think you were.
I chose Morgan, but I may have to go back and make another choice. That was really working.
I do think they got a little bit of... Look, they have always been ranked higher than Maddie and Zach. Maddie and Zach have... You know, they're still proving themselves to the judges that they're not going to have him wipe out during...
right.
At any
and they
point.
can. They have the time to do it if they do it on this Grand Prix circuit. That's all it would take. But I don't know.
They're building their reputation. This
almost
is... Yeah. I think it was big, and it was big for them that they won the free dance, not an overall, but they can both kind of move ahead here. They need to somehow make this. They both need to wind up making the Grand Prix final. It would be very big for both of them too. It's going to be hard for Hubble and Donahue to make it, but it's not over.
Right.
What did you think of Moulin Rouge here, Tessa and Scott? I thought the new costumes were a big plus in the free dance. I thought it looks better.
No, I disagree.
Oh.
I disagree. I thought she looked exquisite.
I thought she looked sexy and had amazing taste.
In the free dance?
Yes.
He's obviously so handsome and so in shape, and I thought he had, like, love handles. Like something was like so horrible about
Well, you're looking at the love hands. I was looking at those pants on him. That was showing him off.
It all looked too tight. Maybe it was just the way it was looking on TV, and I mean, what a trivial thing to like care about, but it was actually a little distracting because he looked heavy the way it was cut. Oh, I
No,
don't
people were
know.
saying that he was heavy last year and all summer. People thought he had gotten heavy,
I
but he
don't think
looks
he's
good.
heavy. I think
No,
it's literally just the cut of the
yeah,
costume.
no, he looks really. I thought he looked good. I thought that he was really selling the free dance to me more than she was. I thought she was a little bit more tentative.
Okay.
Yesterday, I thought
Oh
during.
gosh, when they do that thing and she like kicks her free leg up, like just watching her extension and some of those moves, it's like so incredible. And I know we had this. I think we let it be known that we're not thrilled that this was the avenue maybe in which they took. But I really like her dying at the end. The two turns
Yes.
in, and I don't know. For me, I was like, it could be so cringy, and
I
yet I
think
find
it's
her arms
turned-
so beautiful in it.
I think this program has turned up a notch from Autumn Classic. They didn't get level 4s in the footwork, and there was a little scratchy moment. You could see why it happened.
He had a, oh, yeah, okay.
But I think overall, it's growing more than I thought it would. I still think that they are stronger element skaters than the French, where what they do. Look, her extension to lift, you're going to give it a 3. It's the difference between a 2 and a 3. If you're looking at who is the better lift positions, her or Gabby, I'm going to give it to Tessa. On the day, it's still going to be close, and it's an exciting free dance competition because
The
there's
entrance to each lift, you know that one that I always like giggle at because he like lifts her up like right here.
Yes.
Some of the entrances into them, and that's when you really noticed, like in Weaver and Posey, like a lot of their outs of lifts that were like a little clunky,
Yes.
a little pedestrian, and theirs were more sophisticated. But
it was class, pure class,
And let's not get carried away, but in the short dance, their pattern, like I finally like sat through and watched the pattern from like start to finish in a row with everyone, and you're like, holy cow.
Yes.
You're like, there it is. There,
The
like,
pattern, the no
I
touch
like-
is also the strongest. So,
yeah.
because and the Twizzles were good. They've been a little bit better at the Twizzles. She had a little issue in practice on it, but overall they've been really strong. So I think they're growing, and they look to still be inspired. There are a lot of Canadians on the retirement train where I think like some of them are really, you wonder if they're running out of gas towards the end of their careers, and even in the US as well. But I think they look like they still are energized here, whereas I think when we go into Patrick Chan or some of the other skaters, you see the light at the end of the tunnel a little bit clearer, brighter for some. Well, what did you make of the men's event? Because we need to just get into it as we're talking about light at the end of the tunnel.
What's that, Dave? I thought about showing you my Scott Hamilton book, but instead I'm choosing Icebreaker.
Okay. I like that it has the same font as the Beverly Smith book, Figure Skating: A Celebration.
Yeah, that was a good one. I think I even cut out pictures of a second copy and made a collage, so just let that simmer
That
for a minute.
picture of Rudy is always, it's really on the nose to me. I mean, it could not have been gayer. For the 90s either, he was really a token.
Yeah.
You know what? I always felt like they exploited Rudy a bit. But, it seemed like he was okay with it, and he was happy with making the money.
Cover, he is wrapped in an AIDS ribbon. It's like, okay.
Tom Collins, it wasn't misogynistic at all that he was making him do that Village People program all the time. But you know what? Rudy made a lot more money than probably any of them deserve to make. So, yeah.
And it's still around in the sport.
Yes. And he's a lot of fun and everyone loves him. So, yeah. All right. Patrick Chan. This is interesting where we get about how the media covers things. Because a couple weeks ago when he pulled out, and it just so happens that sometimes the news happens right after we film or something, and he had pulled out of an event because of, he said he had to break in a new pair of boots. And I remember I was like, that's bullshit.
Laying the groundwork.
Yes, laying the groundwork, because I thought, like, whatever. This is not, he skates in a day, you're supposed to be able to, like, skate the next day. This is not the real reason. And then we get here, and apparently his flight was delayed, the costume didn't come, but not a good omen, right? We get to the practice, he intentionally doubles everything. By the way, it was the most centered he's ever looked on the ice. I mean, that it was like a gorgeous practice where he did nothing but looked really winded.
Good doing it. Yeah.
But really winded at the end.
Okay.
And
winded, you say?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
And, you know, reading the body language, I was like, you know, how much coaching does Marina really do with him? Because she's not a technician. I mean, as much as she might tell you, you know. And I know Oleg is the one that handles more of the jumps, but...
And he knows how to skate a program. She doesn't need to help him.
Yeah.
You know.
So they had a really weird interaction after the short program where she just seemed like, oh, good, yes. You know, like
she literally didn't know what to say.
Didn't know what to say. And they were like, oh, because I don't... You know, when he was in Detroit, they couldn't get him to do a run-through. And part of the issue, I think, with Patrick Chan is that he's always been immensely talented and winning pretty much his entire career. He's always been fed how wonderful he is, how great he is, that he is the greatest thing. Even when he fell, his components would be so high. I mean, this scoring system, it all worked out for him like clockwork until he wanted to come back. And in that year at a time, the sport had
That's
really...
That's all it took to outgrow him, yeah.
Because he was really hanging on, even at the last Olympics, because he didn't have the second triple axel, and Hanyu was really pushing it, and wound up winning it by that much. And winning in a way because Patrick opened the door by making mistakes that he shouldn't have, that if he had to really win all of those titles without the benefit of the components, it would have been, you know, he would have had to win a couple more times that way, and
right.
He was accustomed to allow mistakes to happen. I feel like it's kind of coming to him a little bit, where it's not as easy now. You know, the things didn't happen, and suddenly now he's lost motivation, and he said that, you know, going to a Grand Prix isn't as interesting to me anymore. I feel like he thought that he could win when he came back, and it's not as easy, and he seems less interested now. And I don't know if this happens in singing or something where all of a sudden someone starts to struggle like this, but...
Well, it's just burnout in a way, you know what I mean? And I just wondered, like, so he was hinting, right? They said at maybe not going to NHK.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe don't.
Well, he's got no shot of making the final, pretty much. I mean, there's...
Yeah, so why? So at that juncture, why even go?
Yeah,
to get slayed on the ice, chill out, and just like be away for a second. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to take a week or two and find yourself and cry to a therapist about. It's interesting because they spun it differently on Canadian TV. So they spun it and they had a whole fluff piece prepared. That was, he's no longer, and we had heard about a week or two ago that he wasn't doing the quad sow anymore, which I thought was interesting because he can actually physically do it, but he could never do that. Plus the other two quads and everything cleanly. They were now saying that he's just focused on creating a moment, which means that he has given up. He knows that he is not going to compete technically, that he can't keep up, you know, with these other guys, and he is just spinning this. Whichever way you want to put you look so bored. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel when I was actually watching him skate. I'm trying to think, like, because I read that also. Mm-hmm. He's a beautiful skater. So then it's almost like a noble idea. You kind of go with it. Mm-hmm. You're like, well, yeah, that's right. Maybe he should just skate the most beautiful program that makes us weep, that places 8th or something, you know. But he's not doing that. Mm-mm. We had a couple of people in our group text that were like, oh my gosh, I'm loving this free. And I was like, I mean, it's exquisite in like his edges, and like I see the potential. I enjoy what the program can be, but he was so checked out. So if you're going to be checked out, I don't think that's a good program. I don't think you're bringing anything to the table now. You're not bringing your skating skills or your jumps. I don't know. You know, where Jason, you know, he's not doing the quad or whatever in any program, but he's always performing. He's always like 110% emotionally invested in the performance, so you always walk away with something. But him, you just saw him just deflate.
And I think that it goes back to his intention for coming back. Did he come back just because he thought he could win? And that's why we were surprised, because they had already passed him by. I mean, Kim Zmeskal said this too, that she only learned that you can't just compete to win, because once she lost, then she really learned that you have to compete because you love it, because it's what you want to be doing, because you're Megan Duhamel and this makes you tick. And I think that he may not have some of that, at least right now. That might not have been quite, he might not have known exactly what he should be doing, and he does seem a little lost. But at the end of the day, I think in about 6 weeks or so, he should click in that he has the opportunity to be an Olympic champion. I mean, he does not have an Olympic gold medal, and he would be a very key point to why Canada is going to win. And they desperately need him.
To take the advice of your own article.
Yes.
And you know what? Challenge accepted, Patrick. Maybe that would stimulate you artistically. Do something that just blew our mind that was never going to compete technically anyway.
Yeah.
Make people have conversations, get your PCS marks, collect your team gold.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go. Do a Plushenko. You can...
For real. Yeah, pull out if you want for the real competition. But the thing is, like, in Canada, I actually thought Nicholas was going to do better here. Mm-hmm. I actually had him as, like, a surprise, like, 4th place finish. Because I knew that quad loop, and then he had the quad toe loops back, and these sorts of things. But the Canadian men, that's, like... They need Patrick if they're going to win that.
They can't trust Keegan. He's not ready, and he's the only one groomed for this. Yeah. So that was, Nicholas with the landings and the chariots of fire playing over Elvis or whatever that is. I don't know.
With the speech at the beginning and the end, he's over 6 feet and he's kind of furry, so I was really rooting for him. But and he has like some good up and down jumps when he gets. He hit at nationals last year in 2017, but he has injuries a lot and all this sort of stuff. But I was like, I don't know. I'd be intrigued to see you as like the second Canadian man more often than perhaps the others.
Did you find Yorick's program kind of funny, where he was overselling every single note of the music?
Oh, you mean in the Kiss and Cry when he was like making love to the camera? I wondered if they had like an instruction that says, please make eye contact with the camera or something, because a couple of them would just casually stop their conversation about their jumps and be like...
Well, you know how we were talking about some of the delusion of some of these skaters? I mean... He is another one that has become thirstier and thirstier on Instagram over the years. I mean, the modeling and the... Yes. So... Mm-hmm.
Well, I wonder also what these sort of countries that don't have a skating culture in it, when they are the only athlete doing that, when they do know they're going to the Olympics, if that kind of carries more swagger to it.
Or he gets more attention because his sister's going and they have the whole one family, one dream hashtag. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Where like if you competed in the U.S., we may not remember who you were.
But he's very consistent. He seems to like to skate. It's just like too much in this.
Yeah.
And the free skate, not the best look. But he's always that kind of European where you're like, oh, that's a little much. And Breshna's whole look in the free. And it was really funny when he's in the Kiss and Cry. He's like, I did better and Ashley did better too. And Raphael was like, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, Raphael looked so over this event. It was... telling when he is subdued in the Kiss and Cry. And I like when he whispers in Ashley's ear constantly whenever he really wants to.
Always behind. He's like, well, really, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's impressive. He just wanted to go back to the hotel and like eat Timbits or something from Tim Hortons and just not be around either of those skaters.
So Jason Brown and Roheen and this whole... I thought he was going to be either second or third. He did. He makes the most of his points, as Ryan Bradley told us.
Yeah. But as Dick Button tells us also, but he had help.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That short program is such a cringe for me. I don't know. I haven't seen Hamilton. I haven't seen it.
But you shouldn't have had to have in order to understand.
There's a lot of words going on in that program and following the story and...
Very much out of context. And
a lot of leg kicks up, and it's very like...
It seems like a showy Schoolhouse Rock. There, I said it. Like
very Roheen, like... cheesy, play acty. I feel like we've just seen all of what Roheen and Jason are going to do together. All the iterations of it.
Right.
I'm over it.
Yeah, a little bit, because it's not like culminating in something. It's just kind of recycling in a way. And inevitably that's bound to happen, but you knew they probably weren't going to take some crazy risk in an Olympic season either. The thing is, okay, and we have a couple of costumes to discuss. First of all, we need to create an ISU, a costume change ban. I do not want to see the Grease program change. I do not want to see the Russian pairs like open their outfits and change. I don't want to see the other French girl just like taking 25 minutes to like reclasp her skirt and be like, oh my gosh, no more. It's becoming too adult skating, too like kitschy, proppy.
Yes.
The next thing they're all going to have like giant foam cowboy hats on or something. I cannot do it. His reminds me of a costume instead of an outfit.
Yes.
And the nice thing, so much more of skating, the better outfits I find now just appear to be like they're wearing something nice instead of a costume from a show.
Yeah. It doesn't elevate him, the program. It's
it dives into the show numberness of it.
It's Richard Simmonsy for me in a way, and it's just like very cringy and creepy and not creepy. It's cringy. It's I don't know. It's a little too much for me. It's like,
and the steps are of quality, but the steps, I mean, they're not the same vocabulary as what that wants anyway. You know.
And he's always so surprised when he skates well, and the crowd loves him. I do really like moments of his free skate. The free skate shows his beautiful skating, his beautiful movement quality, and at the same time, the music feels very recycled version of last year.
Generically lovely. It's kind of forgettable, like you were saying earlier, and just kind of drones on in an easy, accessible, lovely way.
While he's being beautiful Jason, doing beautiful Jason things, you know, there's going to be the split.
Generically Jason.
Yes.
You know, the same cast of, you know...
I think it was written for him or something, but that was... Someone said that about the music.
Well, he has ups and downs. The music should have also.
Yeah. I don't see where he's made the big improvements over the last couple of years. I mean, he went for the quad. It went how we thought it would go.
It went how it always goes, yeah.
The triple axel went how it always goes. The triple loop is becoming really iffy over the last year or so.
Right.
The Lutz did get an exclamation point. So... You know,
the triple axel, triple toe was good, but all the other triple toes, it's like, ooh, I'm still nervous for you. Yeah.
I don't know. I think, I don't know if he has another 4 years in him. I'm not sure about that.
I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think I just don't, he'll start to get more and more buried. And again, like you say, it's interesting. This started happening to me at the end of the quadrennial with Davison White and Virtue and Moyer with Marina. I was like, I've seen this.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Like, so when everybody left, I was so glad when Tessa and Scott went to someone else, just because I was like, we've seen what that combination is.
Yeah.
We've seen it a lot.
Yes.
Lori and Michelle.
We've seen it a lot.
They did it, and now we're kind of past it.
Yeah. I just thought like a new choreographer for him a long time ago would have
helped him grow.
Yeah. And we haven't seen it, but they have a whole, apparently, you know, they have the talking points for him that he's like Brian Boitano. He's been with the same coach since he was 5. And, you know, you can just see the Olympic ad, put it together. But it's, I think it's time on that one where it didn't grow. It's the same. And I think he'll make the Olympic team. I do. I think he'll make it.
Yeah.
We'll see next week what's going to happen with Vincent. And, you know, but that costume is hideous. That costume is so Scott Hamilton.
The free? Yeah, Scott Hamilton, early 80s, like with the sparkly star on the light blue. It's like literally the same, except it's not a boot cut bottom.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's cringy. There's like a real, and he's lovely, but it's not working for me.
Yeah.
Shoma Uno, who we love. I liked last year's free skate much better. I will say his footwork in the short is so stunning.
The short is a much bigger success for me than the long is.
Yeah.
For sure. I think that the short is really sensational and the long is okay.
I think it's because when he does his jumps and we don't have the confidence that he's going to land them, and he has that delayed jump technique, and the landings can be kind of wild, and he can seem kind of wild.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a sloppy quality to it that either can be very exciting or it can look like a mess. And,
yeah, it can look fun and wild, or it can look out of control and unpredictable.
Yes.
I agree.
Beautifully said, Jonathan Byer, on the fly. That was such great commentary. I agree.
It's on page 63 of Peggy Fleming's landing.
Right after she was listening to that music with her choreographer
right.
and like feeling the special feelings of
her beehive. Yeah.
Okay. But I think he's right in there to contend for that Olympic title and to be that one of the spoilers. So
it's interesting. I wonder because he has huge technical feats to perform in the short, right? But he engages facially more there. I'm more aware of his disconnect because he has to focus on the jumps a little bit in the long, and I don't just know if because there's surely more of it or if that's also built into the program style. I've only said it 300 times. I miss the modern dance side of him, but this open classical side of him is so beautiful in the short this year. Again, the turn dot, like kind of how I feel for Marin. It's not like the perfect connection for me.
I like it better on her. There's a point where you notice he's killing time until the second half. And then
that rough cantilever just to check it off your list, I'm not a fan of that. But so riddle me this, because how is it in Japan? Is he the Terra?
Yeah, they don't seem to like him. Have you noticed that on social media?
Yeah, they aren't into
like
it.
Like the real Hanyu, like fanboys and fangirls, like that Trenton Davis is always hating on him or trying to say like he's counting the transitions and the mohawks and they don't.
Why can't you have the two best? Like
no, they don't. No. He is. Yeah. It's because he's good that he's a threat.
Or threatened or something. Yeah, it's too bad because they seem to like each other. They always have those funny moments on the podium together, but. Oh, and that was a funny moment. Did you see the podium for the ice stands? I never watched those awards ceremonies, but one popped up, and it was the bronze medal part of the podium was pushed too far away. So Zach pushed it closer to Tessa and Scott, and they were looking. And then Madison made a gesture like she was going to climb right up onto the gold one. It was a really funny moment. And I was like, I love this. And then on the other side were Weaver and Poja, and they were like, it's funny. It's worth it. I'll try to.
I'm going to watch this now. Remember when they were all friends? We watched that show when they were best friends.
Must be true.
Yeah. Remember they had that stage dinner on the Tessa and Scott? It was where they were just talking about their. Yes, it was very staged. So, moving on to the pair event. This was actually really excited for it. What is the key scene in the book for you? Is it when they were getting together in the sauna? Or
yes, obviously. That's the only thing I remember.
He was always plying an underage girl with cognac, right?
Yeah. I was I'm listening.
Wait, what was it called? Oh, they were drinking Paradise liqueur.
Oh my god!
Should we all drink that during Russian Nationals? Paradise liqueur. We could.
That would be cute. Yeah.
So nice we're gonna get those Hanyu hats. I need to respond to the email, but someone. Yes, Jonathan. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. Paradise liqueur. If you can find it, we will imbibe.
I'm gonna research it. I'm gonna brew up my own batch.
Yeah.
In honor of Stolbova. Okay.
Yes. It'll be like alcohol content, 0.001, but the same as Scotch's body fat. So it was.
Thing. Hashtag jealous. Okay.
So I was a little worried about Megan Duhamel here when the Lutz was doubled because I knew that they were training really well. But Kerry Strug really pulled it out in the free skate. I mean, she was on an 11.
I thought it might have been okay. And
you were swooning over him like we have never seen you. You were getting lusty for him. And...
Yeah, I was. It was the hair. It was something like the hair is getting a little grayer, and I'm like, I'm listening. Yeah.
And it got he Anderson Coopered like quietly and quickly. Like we started to notice the gray a little bit like a year or two ago, and then it just the light hits it at the right moment, and it's a good
It
look.
shimmers, it's sophisticated, it's like hitting all the right buttons.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. So we've seen her miss the lots or him miss the lots or something before, and you see him get angry and pissed and, and we're going to get it in the long and blah, blah, blah. Something about their overall skating here was indeed freer to me. A lot of times this for sure happens in singing. Some person comes, oh, my brand new technique. I've been working with these new people. We've changed everything. And then they sing and it sounds the exact same. And that happens sometimes in skating. You go to a different technician, you get a different program, and you kind of just look the same. I started to see real differences in their carriage. I thought there was like kind of a gust of air beneath them. And so I thought, okay, even though they didn't do the Lutzes, something about the vibe of the program makes me feel like they're in a good place.
Well, don't tell this to my husband, Jim Peterson, because, he's been having to deal with that John Zimmerman for years when they both were in Lake Arrowhead.
Okay.
But I think he does understand the aesthetics of skating well, and bringing in John Kerr and Sylvia. I do.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that Megan and Eric are only doing about 10 years too late is that they're now working with a Russian skating coach, that they're no longer fighting the Russian, they're embracing it. And they have one that just hates everything that they do and corrects it and, gets dramatically
That's
Russian.
exactly who you should work with. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need yes people. Yeah, just fight it. Yeah.
So I do see the improvement. There are times when they do the choreography where one's slightly ahead of the other, but it's actually much better because Alyona, who is Russian, her partner, is way behind her all the time. Bruno Massot, whatever. I'm sorry. He can't learn German. I can't learn his last name. He reminds he reminds me of myself in like my early dance years, where even though I was in the dance class, when we get to the dress rehearsal, I see the video and I'm like always watching the person in front of me as if somehow they're gonna like teach me the choreography, even though I know the choreography because I'm nervous. He is always a half beat behind her and watching her to like mimic what she's doing, and he's always a little bit behind in the choreography.
And you know what? That's an energy thing too. If you have two performers and someone is clearly relying on you to like carry a scene,
yes,
I mean that starts to weigh on the person who's actually doing the job too. Alyona probably feels like she's like steering a ship. I sometimes forget that her husband isn't the partner. He is there. He's drawing pictures of everyone on Instagram. He's really in it. I feel like he passed his German test. Like, come on, Bruno. Like, he's living his best life, and Bruno's just trying to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, he's very artistic and drawing all the time. And now, I think it's because he tags me in every post that he does. I mean, he has really learned his social media game. Like,
okay.
God, I love her. I thought it was smart to not do the throw triple axel. They did one of the most beautiful throw double axels and throw triple sows that we've ever seen. Like, she landed on one foot and got so many GOE points that she was never getting when she was doing all those 2 foot.
Although after a while, you're like, is this like 1981? Like,
is this Nino and Sand? Like, what is going on? But he didn't.
What would you advise about that triple axel?
When
you were saying do the throw double.
Well, I mean, just for this week, because the throw triple didn't happen.
But in general, should they just scrap that and do some throw triple flip or something?
Just go for the points, Yes. And why don't they have a quad twist? How big that twist is? What is going on there?
Yeah, I do wish there was more of a point bump up.
Yes.
Because the reward is like kind of modest, but I mean... And then you lose a little bit of the wow factor because the height doesn't seem as exciting because she's so, frenetic during it, I suppose, if she has to do that. But
there was a creative writing Canadian piece about the point differentials where they worded it in a way as if like the scoring hasn't caught up to Duhamel and Radford yet. I loved the way the Canadians spun that. I have to tell you, it was really quite great.
And you know what's interesting about these two girls specifically? Like, what role models? I'm sorry, say what you will, but like Megan and Alyona, like these are fighters and they are like never quit. It's so impressive. Megan is chasing what? She's chasing points, right?
Yeah.
I think Eliona is chasing feats. I don't think she even cares about the number as much as she
She wants
like
to accomplish some technical things. Yeah.
yeah, outside of even what they're worth. You know what I mean? I think she gets a kick out of that. She's the only one doing the throw triple axel.
Yeah. And
But
she
and
in for
and
program.
their programs have such interesting choreographic ideas. I'm going to
Yes.
word the ideas are very interesting, even though it's a little cheesy, they made the infinity sign if you were like looking at the right thing with like when they stood next to each other. But these weird moments that are like actually kind of cute, kind of clever, but they're not executed. I don't know who does their programs, but they're clever. There
Aliona
are
clearly does everything for this
right?
team.
Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
There are some really cute and clever ideas, like sprinkled throughout, just moments that aren't necessarily.
Do you think working with her is like when Stolbova worked with Marie France and then they just had to get a new program because it just like they were not listening or agreeing on anything, and yes,
Okay.
this is
Okay.
So, but Aliona, he has not yet risen up to her level yet for me, and it's
And that has
really
to wear
glaring.
on you also, right? Like you have to know that like every time you step on the ice, you're already at a deficit.
I feel like we're still giving her points for the old partnership at some points.
Yeah.
Because Bruno hasn't passed the German test. He hasn't learned the choreography confidently as she has. I mean, it's just
His jumps were like so strange here.
strange.
Very
Sure.
weird.
And
Yeah.
I know that you really feel that French should have been second here. So,
Kind of. Well, I just like the French. Having said that, I don't know that this was their greatest version of this, but
I preferred their black costumes, by the way. We saw real costumes.
100% do I
What
prefer that.
Was
This
that?
kitschy. They looked like costumes instead of outfits.
Were
like
they
we're saying.
cosmonauts? Like, what was going on?
And he had like the weird purple stripe, probably because he was getting too plungy, and I was like, this is getting strange.
Yeah, I don't know.
That didn't help. And also the it sounds vapid also to discuss like the costumes, but like also with her in that jumpsuit and the weird gray, it was hard to see some of the cool pictures they create.
Well, because when
actually.
you're in the light gray and the ice is so white, it can kind of wash you out. Yeah.
Yeah, and in the lights and stuff up there, it was getting lost a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the French programs though, but they weren't. Theirs was another one. In their short, there were a lot of dead moments. Like it almost was like they were ahead or behind, or they were like, "Shit, what happens now?" I couldn't quite.
But they have improved so much that I could see them like getting that world medal or world title, in the next couple of years if they keep with this. Like they're
And it's one of those things for some reason, and you can tell they're so real. I get a sense of who they actually are. I feel. Good one, Jonathan. I'm sure nowhere near it, but they have a very warm, inviting persona.
As Peggy Fleming told us, ice skating is a very revealing sport. We get a very idea for the Irish people.
Well, it is for them, and I like what it reveals about them in that way. Because you notice, for some reason, all the fans are just with them. They're
authentic. They fight on the ice. They have all...
I'm a little confused. I know that lift where he like holds her and then goes down. I'm not quite sure what it's supposed to look like at the end here. Both versions of the program we've seen at the end, it ends a little, and I'm unsure what just happened. But
They still have that hot mess quality about them at certain times.
They're kind of like squeaking it out, but you see in the kissing corner,
They
they're
haven't
like
been fully polished yet. We're sanding down the edges and we're molding and they're still working, but they have made so many strides in the last 18 months that it's really coming together. I thought that the Chinese pair, Peng and Jin, the jumps were off, but there is such a quality to them. I mean, the throw landings were incredible. To me, they have that extra. Give them a year or two, and I think that we're going to start to see really
this
strong.
was what they had all the hopes for, right?
No, these are the these were the dumbies. This is. But she wasn't too sad about not skating with Zhang anymore. So, but I think that this is going. I think that this will be. They could turn into like a Pang and Tong because we know in China they can't retire for another 10 years anyway. So I think that this is there's a Pang and Tong-ish quality around them. They're always going to be the number 2 or the number 3 pair, but I think they're going to just keep getting better and better and better. And we're going to see something at the end of the day from this team. They
Okay.
respond to music well. They have
Yeah.
matching lines. They look better at the jumps, even though they've landed them. We're not perfect here. The technique is
Right.
looking a little better, and I have hope.
Okay.
They're not for this year, but for later on. They're a nice pair.
They're very pretty. They have pretty lines and things like that. It's just like one of the more inconsistent ones.
Yes.
So I'm just kind of like, I can't quite. I don't know. I'm skeptical still.
Well, at
but I
least
hope
it's no. You know what it is? They've become real skaters, whereas before they were a novelty act. Like, we knew them because it was about the father and the daughter and the three
Right.
old guys and the kiss and cry with her, and
Right.
it was strange
Right.
and amusing. But they've become like credible skaters in their own right. We're like,
Right.
oh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Haven and Brandon, Jonathan. The side-by-side single toes. So I thought apparently, she can't do a double axel. They're not even trying it in practice anymore.
Right.
Why side-by-side single toes? They didn't even double them. The Chinese did the double sao cows.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was the strangest thing I have seen in a long time. Okay.
Yeah. It was. Oof. It's not going great.
And Marina did that program, the free skate to the Queen, like that.
Yeah, I'm surprised she sat there.
That was they have very nice qualities of Haven and Brandon. They'll be great on ship. They'll be great in a show. They don't have the technical to really contend because they don't have the jumps or the difficult elements. But she had that terrible knee injury and all of it. But I really do enjoy them aesthetically. But it's not good.
There was such a glimmer of hope for that
Yes.
brief moment.
Yeah.
Ingo Steuermann's, and you
That
thought
Renee
maybe
Roca programmed The Lion King. Yeah.
But for real. You were like, oh, and then even by the end of that season, you were like, nope.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
Add them to the list. Yeah.
a pleasant team. But what do you make of Luba and Dylan here? I thought
Did we know they were going for a throw quad sow? Are you crazy?
that was unexpected. That was
Yeah.
like
Oh, okay.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was wow. Okay. Yeah. The jumps were just not.
More of the same. Yeah.
I believe in fantasy that I wrote that question and then I think I gave them like 1 out of 3 to be positive and nice and
Right.
should have
Right.
gone with my gut and gotten the
Yeah.
points because that
Yeah.
was just not happening. That was not the effort.
Tough. And I was trying to watch the program now that you explained the story about
Mm-hmm.
they were together and they're not together, but she's kind of messing.
But when you make that many mistakes, you can't even follow the story because
Yeah, it was like, you just leave her laying there.
yes. Well, because I noticed when they were going into the throw flip, then there's choreography and there's storytelling going on, but you could tell that she was so apprehensive and they were both clearly not clicking during the program that it
Right.
was just gone. At that point in the program, we were done. We were waiting for
Yeah.
the music to end.
Checked out. Yeah.
Checked out.
Absolutely.
But then in the kiss and cry, he was like, "Oh, that was a nice spin." The coach was like, "Yeah." There was not much.
I mean,
to say.
that's fair to say. Yeah, it's so awkward there a little bit.
I think I think they're the kind of team where we saw them have a decent skate at Boston Worlds. I bet they take a long time every year to get the jumps together, to get themselves psychologically ready. It's
Right.
interesting to me because when he and Kirsten split, and Ilyinik and Katsalapov split, didn't agree with either of those splits, and even though I would say that Luba and Dylan have been the most successful of the new partnerships, none of these.
It didn't work.
It didn't work.
It didn't.
Just did not work in either of them.
Yeah.
So
And I understand, they definitely had the advantage with Luba, but it's too insurmountable. Her positions are exquisite. She's a great pair skater in so many ways.
that other coach was so damaging psychologically to get over everything that happened, and and the old partner.
And you know what? If they had stayed together, they would have been a real factor now.
Yeah.
They would have been kind of a Vanessa and Morgan kind of fan
Yeah.
favorite. They were already surpassing Eric and Megan at the end of their time together.
They needed a new choreographer. Those Mark Pillay programs were.
Yeah,
Could
very
you-
West Coast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vancouver is the Canadian Southwest, Okay.
Is it really?
Oh, well, I mean, technically.
I don't know about like the different regions in Canada and what they are stereotypically.
Oh no, I did not mean their repute. I was just making a
Oh.
joke because graphically it is the southwest of Canada.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if there, there was
No other
shade being
connotations
thrown about
outside of
Canada.
it. Yeah, okay.
So overall, what was your moment of the week, Jonathan Byer? Did we?
Gosh, was that all the pairs?
Oh, the Russians. What did you think about the Russians?
Costume change rule in effect. Thanks a lot, you guys.
Yeah.
Let's never do that. Sleeping Beauty, kind of. Yeah. Yeah, that was.
Now next week we have Javier Fernandez, we have the French, we have Chalk and Bates, we have our Sway and Han, and then we have the three Japanese girls battling it out. It's so Cup of China is usually that like breather of the event that we have to get through, but there's some talent next week. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, there's a glitch in the matrix because we didn't start with Skate America, so everything is askew.
Everything feels off. I'm like, what's next week? I don't know. But what was your moment of the week overall?
Gosh, I'm gonna say maybe seeing Marin. They say Marin on the Olympic Channel, and it doesn't seem right to me. Marin's new short program, because I see the potential for such a beautiful moment. But it could be Kaitlyn's combo in the short. I don't know.
She's got those Tanya jumps, they're...
I know, and I'm such a sucker for that.
She needs a quad,
Yeah, she needs a wow factor. I mean, she's got it, but she's pretty special. Yeah, so that I think it's ladies this week for me.
That ladies event had Anna Pogorilaya, the Marin Honda. I mean, it was the highs and lows. It was exciting. So, what was your moment of the week? What did we say that you hate us the most for this week? I'm sorry, it is a rainy day, people. We have torrential downpours.
We just didn't want to leave and go outside. Yeah. So we're just going to wander aimlessly amid skating discussion.
I just wanted to be in the room where it happened, all right?
I didn't, gosh.
Hold it, it should look sexy. Bye, guys.